Welcome to the third and final part of my Fall Guys UEFN tutorial. In this part, I go over even more obstacles you can make, like this cannon, custom and also working UIs that use no verse at all, victory animations, and setting up your Fall Guy island to support multiple courses that randomly select each round. If you haven't seen the first two episodes, I highly recommend watching them first, so let's get to it. Now, like last time, I'm just going to make a new sequence, and I'm going to first the melon. To make a melon work, what we need to do is we need to go into Fortnite, search a pinball, and we're going to use one of these pinball things again. And we're going to use the long one this time. And this long one, we're going to add it right here. Going to stretch it all out. We'll actually flip it upside down, and then we'll put it right here. Make it wider than the melon, so I can hit it, move it up. I have a bumper for a melon. And then what we want to do is you just want to copy it by holding Alt and dragging the thing, flip it around, and now we want to click both of these, right click, attach to, and we're going to attach it to the scythe/melon. So now, it's connected, as you know, and we can add it to a sequence. And since it's going to be maybe rotating in a full 360 degrees, we're going to add transform. Add a relative track, delete the transform. We want to get rid of location and scale, and then we only want rotation, and we're going to figure out which one it is. So it's pitch, so delete, and then with this, we're going to make a key right here. We're going to go over here. We're going to make it so it's 360. All those same things apply. We're literally just doing the exact same thing we did last video to make this, and then we're like linear. Oh, do you look at that? It's now spinning, and now they hide the pinballs. Just click both of them, add them to here, and then press the plus sign, go down to activate in game, and then just make them turned off. And now we have a working melon spinner. To make a punching fist thing, we need the bouncer. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to the bouncer gallery. Like last time, we're going to grab this, which is going to be the front face for the puncher. Going to bring it over, and then like this. We're going to scale it to where it should be roughly the same size. There we go. And then we're going to make it so it's not visible during game, and we're going to right click it. We're going to attach to the fist, and then it's going to work like the flipper. So we're going to need a trigger, because you only want the bouncer to activate when the punch goes out. So we're gonna add a trigger. This trigger that's not visible in game, it can't be triggered by anybody, and the sound effects and stuff are off, and it activates on game start. So we want this bouncer to then disable when this trigger is triggered, because we want this to be disabled. And then we want to go into our sequencer. We want to add the fist to it. We also want to add the bouncer. Then in the fist, we want to add a transform track, and the bouncer want to add a gameplay events track. Then we're going to add first key. And then we're maybe at the second key for the fist is about here. And after about this much seconds, the fist will go out like this. And that's the punch. Maybe a bit further. It's kind of a weak punch. The fist will go out like that. And then we'll have a recharge and reset about maybe like 2.5 seconds. Oh, oops, it's not working. I want to Control C this key and then move maybe up over by 2.5 seconds, it'll fully reset. And then in gameplay events for the bouncer, what we want to do is on these two frames, like the flipper last episode, we want to make it so there's a key here, and then there's another key here, and in this key, the bouncer will enable, and then in this key, the bouncer will disable. I'll make that even faster, so it's like, quick. What we want to do is we want to select all of this, Control C, and then paste it again. We have this, but we also need the gameplay event, so we're going to do this, Control C, and then put on this key and Control C. There we go. And now we have a working punching fist. Now last but not least, we have our cannon, and our cannon is going to be a bit more complex, so we'll get to it. Now to make this cannon, I'm going to make a new sequence. And before we add anything to this, what we want to do is we want to go up here, go into shapes, and we're going to add a sphere. And this is going to be our cannonball. If we can get it right, we want it to be straight with this. I'll do, I guess, maybe on the level 2. Now the cannonball will go, but we want this cannonball to actually damage players when it hits them. So what we can do, search up damage volume, and then what we can do is in damage volume, we can make it so the damage is elimination, since beans can't like really take any damage because they're either dead or alive. So then we want to make it available phase always. We want to make it so the zone shape is a cylinder, and that should be good. We're going to move this on here. We're trying to get this perfect so the hitbox is not bad. Put it on like this, then we're on the bottom like that. There we go. And now this damage volume, you want to right click it, you want to do attach to, and we're going to attach this to the ball. And now the damage volume is on the sphere, so now when the cannon ball comes out and you get hit by it, you will die. And now what we need to do is we need to actually make the cannon. So I'm going to do a simple way of doing this. And I'm going to do a lot more advanced way of doing this. So simple way is pretty simple. All I need to do is grab this, grab the ball, put it into the sequencer, put the first key inside, put the second key outside, like this. Put the second key with the ball, you know, that has already gone out. And now it's, you know, oh wow, it's a cannon. And then you'll probably want to make this linear too, and then that works. So this is like the really simple way of making it. But we're not gonna settle for this. We're gonna make something cooler. So let's make something cooler. Okay, first step to make something cooler, we're going to delete this key right here, and then what we're gonna do is in our thing, we're gonna add this to here. We're gonna make it transform, and we're going to make a little like a little animation for our cannonball. So this is gonna be the first key, and then maybe at about 1 is when it's going to fire. So right after it fires, there's going to be it's kind of a bit of kickback, and then it's probably going to go up a little bit like this. It's going to recoil, and then it's probably going to go after like maybe 5 seconds, it's going to go back to its original position. So it's going to go bang, or you can actually make that a bit less. Go bang. There we go, perfect. And then it's going to go back to its position. Now with the sphere here, what we can do is right when it like it jumps back, we want the sphere already out. So sphere is here, so I guess if we select the sphere only, and about here on the same key where it starts jumping back, we want the ball already kind of out. And then here the ball's like flying. We don't want the ball to be in the air for too long. You know, it's a cannonball, so that's gonna go like that. There we go. And I want to make these linear. You could also make it so click on the sphere you activate in game. Then I want to make it visibility off until about here. I'm gonna make a key right here where it goes visible, or maybe a bit sooner, maybe before it exits, like about here is when it goes visible. Now it's visible, and it stays visible until it reaches the end of this path where it turns invisible again. And then what we also want to do is we want to add the damage volume to it, because this is going to be floating there for a bit until the sequence restarts, which we don't want because it can kill players still. So we want to make it so here it will enable, it doesn't really matter if it's enabled or disabled at start because it's going to be inside the cannon, but here we want it to disable. And since it's enabling and disabling like this, when the sequence resets, it's going to be stable to the start because of the last sequence, but it's going to get enabled by this key. So then it'll be back on. I'll actually make that recoil a bit shorter. Perfect. Now we have the cannonball animation. Now to make it even better, so it's not like the ball just disappears, we can also add a little fancy thing at the end where this is the last frame, but we'll make it so it goes a bit further, and then right here it goes a bit further, and then I'll just shrink. I could also do that as well. That's a bit too much. I'll move it back to there. So at the very end it doesn't just disappear. It kind of like it goes away, I guess. And then what we can do is, if we got our animations down, but we're gonna add some cooler stuff. So we're gonna add some Niagara effects. To add some Niagara effects to this, what we can do is we're gonna cut and draw. One issue is with Fall Guys Islands, there's usually presets of like effects. So you can get like an explosion effect, you switch up gas explosion. But in Fall Guys, for some reason, you can't get fancy, you know, pre-made things. So you gotta make them yourself. So right click, you wanna go down to effects, you wanna go to a Niagara system. Now I'm gonna do something really simple, right? I'm gonna make a directional burst. I'm just gonna call it cannon dust, I guess. And this will be our little dust that will play when the cannon is launched. This is not a Niagara tutorial, okay? So I'm gonna make it really simple. Go into initialize particle, go over to sprite size, make sure it's uniform, and then just put it up a bit. Then in add velocity, you want to add some velocity to it, so like it gets launched better. And actually, I might make the scale a bit smaller so we get more lines. There we go, that works. And then we can do gravity force and make that maybe kind of just like 0. There we go. So now it's kind of like a shotgun. If that makes sense. That should do. It might be a bit too big. We'll see, but I'll just add it. So you add this cannon dust here. That works. There we go. This will be our effect that will play when the cannon launches. So add this to the sequencer, cannon dust. You then want to go down to Niagara component. You want to go press the plus on again, and you want to do FX system toggle track. You want to add a key. You want to put maybe about here, and you want it to do trigger. Now this will trigger when that key is hit. So now it goes bang. I'm gonna do initialize particle. Now I'll make it a bit bigger. So not that big. And then I'm gonna add some more velocity to it. Maybe about that much. The minimum, maximum, I'm just gonna do that much. You can do whatever with the particles and stuff like that. It doesn't really matter. This is just as an example. Wow. Now we have a cannon with some effects playing. And we can also do is we can add audio. And what we can do is we can grab maybe firework. And that's the only one that'll do. And we can add this here. We're going to attach this audio to the Canon base. So the audio is now attached to the Canon. They'll curve out before the end like this. So if I select the audio, you're going to notice that the audio is now connected to the Canon. So you'll only hear the audio from the Canon, and if I fly away, you're not going to hear the audio. As I get closer. So there we go. Working Canon in Fall Guys. Okay, next up, we're going to make a custom UI and also a custom tracker. Now, this isn't going to be in-depth or anything. This is just very simple just to get the Fall Guys mechanics working. I will be doing a full custom UI tutorial down the road, okay? I'm just going to make a new folder, and then in here, I want to go up to the user interface, and I want to make a widget blueprint. And in here, we're going to make a user widget. This will be winner screen. Now, I've just imported this like little winner PNG, so I guess we can just use this. Now, what we can do is we'll go into winner screen. Once you're inside of here, what you want to do is you want to drag out a canvas panel. And once you are a canvas panel, next step is pretty simple. Just bring in your PNG. I'll add it here, and then I just want to, you know, make it up to size. On the image, you see this flower thing on top right? This is the anchor, okay? So to make this more what we want, you want to move this flower looking thing to the middle of the screen like this. Then what you want to do next, you want to get a HUD message device and a trigger by going to content drawer, going to Fortnite, searching up HUD message device, and you get it right here. And then you'll get a trigger if you search up, you know, trigger. Okay, now in this HUD message, you want to make sure that you have these exact settings. So you don't need the message. Show around start, so you can turn that on or off if you want. Background opacity, you can turn that on if you want. Show duration is important because if you want to have an infinite HUD, you turn this off. But for this win celebration, it's only going to be on the last 5 seconds. Then in play sound, I'm going to use this sound because it's like a nice victory sound. In HUD widget, we want to replace that with the winner screen HUD we just made. Layer is important because you can have different layers for your UI. We're just gonna keep that at 0. And then intro and outro animation is cool because we can add animation to our HUD. So we're gonna have a slow fade and zoom for in and out. And then we're gonna show the HUD on this trigger by going in here and just, you know, untriggered. Now we're in game, and if I walk into this trigger, look at that. Winner. Wow. So that's a little quick UI you can make. Very, very, very simple. Now next I want to make an eliminated player counter tracker thing. So this will count how many eliminated players there are that are needed to get to the next round or win the game or whatever. Now what we'll need is, if you go in the content drawer, what we'll need is a tracker device. Oops, a tracker device right here. Bring it out. Now in this tracker, so you want to go into here, elimination. I want to set it to events, and I guess for this example, we'll do target value 3. Now we'll keep this all the same. All this the same. I'm going to change this later. We want sharing to be all. Amount to change on event will be 1. You can assign on game start or assign on joining on progress. So you can turn this off if you don't want it to assign on game start, but for simplicity, I'm going to make it so it assigns on game start. So what I'm going to do is kind of like the HUD message. I'm going to get a trigger, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here. I'm going to increment the process of this tracker when this trigger is untriggered. So when I step on this, it's going to increase the tracker's progress through events. So it's going to go up to 3. And to actually create the tracker that will work, what we need to do is we're going to go back in our custom UI and all that. I'm going to go into user interface, and we're going to make a new widget blueprint. And we'll make another user widget. And this will be for our tracker. Now inside of here, what we need to do first is we need to actually make our little UI. First, we want to drag out a canvas panel, and then we want to drag out an overlay, and then we'll put it on our canvas panel. Now I'm just going to place this in the center of the screen. And this overlay, what we'll do, you can put some things in it. Usually you want to put like a background. This is going to be our background of our tracker UI. Now I very quickly made this like eliminated like little tracker thing. I made this in like Photoshop, but it's kind of crude, but it works. Now this image, what you want to do is you want to, inside of here, you want to drag it on top of the overlay. And so basically go inside of it. And then inside our image, we want to make it like, you know, fit inside of it properly. So we'll just increase the size of the image like this. And now what we're going to need is a stack box right here. And we'll drag that in to our overlay, which will add a little stack box to our thing. Once you have our stack box inside of here, you want to get a text block. And this is going to be our value for our tracker. So we're going to put it in here. We want this UEFN text block to be inside the stack box. Then we're going to call this value. Then we want another text block. And we're going to put into the stack box. And this one is going to be the slash. That's going to be in between the, like, you know, if it's 0/1 or 0 out of like 10, that's going to be the little slash in the middle. And then we're adding one last text block, which is going to be our target value right here. There we go. Perfect. So obviously the placing of this isn't exactly perfect. So what we're going to do is we're going to add some padding. So we click on all these, and we'll add some, like, try to add the best. So I don't know how to get this perfect. Click on the stat box, and then click here, and then here. It's kind of better. Then I guess we can add a bit more padding. Right here we can do padding, and then we can do top. It seems like 20 is good, so we'll do top 20 in all of these. And the stuff box, I'm gonna maybe make it like, you can put it here or you can put it here. I think probably best it'll be in the center. Anyways, what we need to do next is we need to bind the value and target value text blocks to the tracker so they can inherit the numbers that are currently in the tracker. So since it's 0 3 right now, value can become 0 and target value can be 3. And if it goes up to 1, value will change from 0 to 1 dynamically. No, we don't have to do any verse for this. What we need to do is we can go down to view bindings, we can add a view model, and then we're going to add the tracker view model. And this is going to add all of these guys. So we're just going to click this and close it. Now we have the view model for the tracker. We need to click on what we need, go back into view bindings, and then add the widget to the here. So what we need to do is we need to get the text of the text block, and then we need to impose the value of the tracker into the text block in here. That will override it with a number. So what we need to do is we need to click here, we do text, and then it will keep it the same, and then we need to do conversion functions to text to integer, and then it's going to do all this. What we do is this value, click this little like selector thing, and then go into tracker, and then value, and then select. So now this value is bound to the tracker's value. And then target value, what we need to do is we do the exact same thing. So select target value, add it, get its text, get its conversion function to integer, and then link it to the tracker's target value instead. Always look at that, it's all bound up and it's all compiled. Then once your widget is done, you want to go into your tracker, you want to go to details, and we're going to add in our HUD widget here, which is our tracker. Okay, now here it is in game. It's obviously not placed on our HUD correctly yet, but you can probably see now. Oh, look at that, it's working. Then once you complete it, it's going to disappear. And just to place it correctly, you want to get the overlay, and then we're just going to bring it like maybe here. That's usually where it is. And then with your anchor, you want to put it right here on the edge of the screen. So now our eliminate tracker is up here with the anchor that's now up around here. But in game, you're going to notice that the eliminated logo is now at the top left of the screen, which is not where we want it. So how do we make it so it's positioned correctly? So the issue here is that the tracker, we're trying to put it on the side of the screen here, but the tracker originates on this side. So what I want to do is I want to put the anchor all the way on this side of the screen, and then we want to compile it and start the game. So now if you look, our eliminated tracker is in the perfect spot where we want it to be. And if I walk onto the thing, as you can see, it works. But yeah, this is how you make a custom tracker. Okay, next up, we're going to make like a place where the winner will go when they win the match, if that makes sense. Okay, now I'm going to base this off the presumption that you're doing a elimination for your final round. So what we're going to need is a mutator zone. We'll just drag that out. So now, if you think about it, all the other players in the lobby will be dead. So this mutator zone, all I'll need to do is just grab the player that's alive, if that makes sense. So we'll just fill this area with, mutator zone. Make the VFX off and add some gameplay. Now what we need to do really is to activate the victory royale, I guess. But let's make a little winning animation around a little trigger, and then we're gonna add a cinematic sequence device. And now to make this work, I guess I'll just play the function when the trigger is triggered, and then when this flip trigger is also triggered, the mutator zone will turn on. Doesn't have to be a trigger. Again, this can be like a tracker that's hooked up or something, or like a thing that makes the thing turn on or whatever. And once this is done, we want the player to teleport onto this little podium so they can do a little dance and stuff. So we might make a barrier device. We'll just put this here. We'll make it a hollow box, and we'll just add it right here, a bit smaller. I think I might make this actually still podium smaller. So now the player who wins will be inside of here, and then we'll add a teleporter. Now this teleporter is going to be for the player. We'll make a rift visible off. Make the groups none. What I want to do is face player in teleport direction is yes, and then maintain resolution is off, and then place sound effects also off. And they want to teleport this when a player enters this zone, and then this zone will be enabled during phase none. Enable effects is off. Okay, and then what we need to do next is we need to go into here, make a new sequence. It'll be winner, and then this will play. We'll just make it. We'll press this button, add a camera. Then I guess we'll make it this 100,000. This is out, so it's not blurry, and then this will be good. I guess this will work into the player who wins. Wow, they won. But I guess the thing will drop out. I remember I think the floor drops out. I don't remember. I might be wrong about this. I'm just going to do this, and then I'm going to go and get this barrier then gameplay events, and then make it disable. There we go. This here one enabled, just to make sure. So now the camera will zoom in onto the victorious player, and then it'll just fall and die, I guess. And then like before, in the first part with the end game device, I'll just hook that up into the win little animation, which so the game will end. I guess in here we can do add this. We can do gameplay events, and then I guess I kind of want to end the game like right here. So then we'll activate it. Then oh yeah, and don't forget to put your sequence inside of the cinematic sequence, and then make loop playback off, autoplay off. Oh yeah, and then I just want to go in here and I want to in the barrier material I want to clear it, and that should do it. So now if I go in game, you're gonna notice now. Oh, would you look at that? Victory! So yeah, that's this little animation you can play that will show the winner of the match. Okay, now last thing in this video I'm going to cover is making multiple rounds for your Fall Guys island. Now to make this work, you're going to need something like a lobby, okay, for all your players to spawn into. So I'm going to make a platform over here, and then so here's the spawn pads. You can add more if you want. Since Fall Guys is usually free for all, what you can do is usually spawners. You want to make player team index 1, and then this will be team index 2, and this is team index 3. No, team index 4, and team index 5, all the way up to 100 because you can have 100 different teams if you wanted to. So basically, the way this will work is that in the player spawner, there's an option for spawning the player, and we're gonna use that to respawn the player at the new the new course we're going to use. Now these will be where we're going to spawn. This is the hub, okay? So I'm going to make one little platform over here, which is going to be our first course, and I'm going to make another one over here that's going to be our second course, just as an example. Okay, so here's our 2 courses, 1 and 2. Okay, you can make as many courses you like, I think up to 100. For example, we're going to have 1 and we're going to have 2, and we're going to make a randomized system, so it picks a randomized course each level. And basically what we need to do is we're going to need to use a random number generator right here. Bring it out. Now the way this will work is that it will select a random number in the zone that it's using. Okay, now the way we want to set this up is that we want value limit to be, since it's only 2, we're gonna have 1 and 2, and then we want the winning value to be 0, so there's no winning value. Now pick each number once will help if you want to make multiple rounds, and they have a bunch of different Fall Guys things, and it'll make it so it doesn't repeat. If you want to make sure you have enough things for each round, otherwise it's gonna break. If you wanted to have 10 rounds in total for your Fall Guys game, you want to make sure that there's at least 10 courses that you made, and you can make it so it resets on round start, or you can reset on game start. Usually you want reset on game start. Roll time doesn't really matter. You can make it as much as you want, and then visible game, turn that off. You can activate on game start if you want, or you can have a timer device go into it, so there's like a 30-second countdown timer before the game begins. So that's all I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go make a timer device, kind of like the first episode when I made a thing. It's gonna make a countdown for 30 seconds, and it will we want this time to start at game start, and then we want this random number generator to activate on when the timer is on success, because that's when it ends. Make sure in the random generator, we want to make sure it's playing no audio, and all the settings I already said. And also we want the zone direction to be forward, and you're gonna notice we're gonna make a zone. Now this zone will basically make it so this is how you'll trigger triggers that do stuff, different things in your random generator. So value limit can be like this. You can make it 99. You can make it quite a lot, but if it's too like if this is too thin, you can make the length longer, and then I'll spread everything out. But I'll make it really long. But anyways, what we're gonna do is we only need 2 because we're going to only do 2 rounds. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna make a trigger, and this will be our round 1 trigger. I'll call this round 1. This is our round 1 trigger. Make it not visible in game. Turn all these off, but make sure you have triggered by sequencers on, because that counts for the RNG device. Trigger effects and trigger effects off, and then there we go. That's done. And then we'll make another one, and this will be our round 2 trigger, and this will trigger round 2. So this will make round 2 trigger, and then just for clarity, all right, I'm going to make a HUD message. And then if this trigger gets triggered, it's gonna say course 1, and then it's going to then also say course 2. Does that say round? Sorry, I call these round. This should be called course. This is course 1, and this is course 2. Sorry, sorry, I'm a bit confused. We'll display one HUD message on show, when this trigger is triggered, and then this will the other one will show for course 2 when this course 2 trigger gets triggered. Now you don't need to do these HUD messages if you don't want to, but I'm just gonna do it because then it'll tell us, you know, even if there's, you know, the numbers. But anyways, so next step we want to do is want to make a mutator zone. So what we're gonna do is in this mutator zone we're gonna disable the VFX, and we want to make it enable game phase none. That's very important. And then we want it to enable when the first trigger is triggered. So this will be course 1 mutator zone. Course 1, not that terribly, mutator zone. We're going to make another mutator zone, and we're going to enable this on course 2, and this will be course 2 mutator zone. So now we have 2 mutator zones that correlate to the triggers. Now, next step, okay? With our spawners, these are going to be our game start spawners. Hence the name, hence the option that uses on start is on. But what we want to do is we want to move all of our spawners to our course we want. This is course 1, so we'll move all our spawners to course 1. So now this is here, and what we can do in here, we want to use this on start to be turned off. Keep all the teams, and then you want to make it so it spawns the player when this mutator zone on player entering the zone. And also you got to make sure respawn live players is on it too, and it's going to respawn every single player. I'm going to put them onto this course, and we do the exact same thing for 2, except that it's for the second mutator zone, which is this one. So we want to spawn every single player on this mutator zone, on player entering zone. And now if we grab both of our mutator zones, bring them over here, and we want to make sure these cover the entire area of the hub, but not any courses. So maybe like, I'll just select both. There we go. No, I might make both of them 50. Doesn't matter, just make it as big as you need. So now these 2 mutator zones, when they activate, the player will just already be inside of it, so they'll just automatically respawn. They don't have to enter the zone, because when it activates, that's when they enter anyways, so it'll work like that. Also, I might make this timer a bit less, so I can actually test this quickly. But we're not done just yet. We need to actually make rounds first. So what we do is we go into Outliner, go into Island Settings, and we need to do some settings in our islands first. So first, we want teams to be free for all, because that'll make it so it works. Team size will be 1. Also, because remember, it's free for all. Total rounds, now this depends on what you want, so you can make it 10, maybe 15, whatever. I'm gonna do, like, so just do 5, I don't care. But that's important to know. Like I said earlier, you need to make sure you have the right amount of rounds, how many courses you got, so you don't run out of courses. And then in victory condition, you want to make sure that you either have round wins, so whoever wins the most rounds, or whoever has the most score at the end. So in each round, if the player wins, you can add score and stuff like that. I'm not getting into it. I'm just going to help you with that rounds, because it's complex. If you want to add score, you want to just use a score manager and stuff like that. And yeah, that should be most of the important settings you should probably know. And oh yeah, you also got to make sure you have priority group on for these spawners. So you want to do priority group, and then you want to make it maybe as low as possible, so 1. And then on each of these, you want to make it so all the spawners that aren't in the hub, want to make it so they're priority group 2. Also, I recommend in your next round, when the players spawn there, you also maybe want to make a player checkpoint. Kind of like, remember the first episode, how there's a player checkpoint and there's a mutator zone that they go inside of, like this, where you know how it works. It's kind of like over here with this, but just put one of these on where they spawn in, if that makes sense. So because when they die, there's a chance they might just respawn back here, and then they might get teleported back over here. So just know that. Also, another thing you might want to do is select all of these, and then you want to make it so they will disable when the timer is over on failure. And then all of these, just to make it simpler, you could grab all of the ones in the round, make them disabled on game start, and then you want to make it so they enable when the timer is done on success. And here we're in game. If I start the game, I should spawn on hub spawners. Yeah, look at that. In about 10 seconds, it will pick a random place for me to respawn at. Pick course 1. Oh, look at that. I'm at course 1 now. Well, will this be course 2? It's a 50-50. Let's find out. Oh, it's course 2. Oh, look at that. I teleported to course 2. Okay. I think you understand how this works now, okay? So this is how you make multiple courses for your Fall Guys Island. So yeah, hopefully this should be the entire tutorial done, okay? I thought the first part would be enough, but then I realized I missed so much, and then I, you know, I might as well just finish all of it. Part 2 was gonna be the last part, but I guess I made part 3 anyways. Hopefully we enjoyed all 3 parts of this Fall Guys tutorial. This Fall Guys extravaganza. Don't worry, I'll be getting back to regular tutorials, but that's about it. So remember to like, subscribe, and use my code in the Fortnite Amp Shop. And watch all of these videos for more of my content. I'll see you all next time.